Have you ever found yourself feeling lost, overwhelmed, or stuck in habits that just don't serve you? We all have those moments, don't we? The ones when we long for a reset, a chance to truly change, but we're not sure where to start. Every single day, life throws challenge our way, challenges that seem to weigh us down, keeping us trapped in a cycle of unfulfillment. But here's the thing. What if the key to breaking free, to unlocking lasting change, lies within us, just waiting to be discovered? Buddhism offers a powerful teaching. True transformation begins from within. It's not just possible, it's essential if we want to live a life filled with true peace and purpose. Picture this: a gardener tending to a garden overrun with tangled vines and thorns. Every thorn represents a negative habit, a fear, or a limiting thought. The gardener could stand back, hoping the garden will magically fix itself. Or they could take that first small step, clearing one branch at a time. Even the most chaotic gardens can be transformed with consistent care and patience. This is the essence of self-transformation, and it's exactly what we're here to explore today. Welcome to Insightful Journey, where we delve into timeless teachings and practical wisdom to spark change. If you're ready to unlock the better version of yourself, you're in the right place. But here's a little something you might not know. Only 0.2% of viewers have subscribed. So don't just watch, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep bringing you content that makes a real difference. In today's video, we'll explore the core Buddhist principles that shed light on the path of self-transformation. Buddhism teaches us that suffering is not something to be avoided, but rather a powerful catalyst for change. When we realize that many of our struggles come from within, it becomes clear that we have the ability to change our situation. Buddhism doesn't promise instant fixes, but it offers something far more profound, a method for gradual transformation, an unfolding of inner awareness. By understanding our minds and behaviors, we open the door to growth, resilience, and clarity. The journey is about examining the roots of our discomfort. Much of our suffering comes from attachment, the desire to cling to what feels comfortable, and from resistance, the tendency to avoid what feels uncomfortable. That's why embracing the concept of impermanence, the reality that everything changes, is such a powerful part of the Buddhist path. Once we realize that life is in a constant state of flux, we start to loosen our grip on things that no longer serve us. We learn to let go of attachments, and in doing so, we find freedom. By the end of this series, you'll have a deeper understanding of Buddhist principles and practical steps to reshape your thinking, habits, and outlook on life. We're here to help you live with more purpose, clarity, and peace. So stay with us as we explore each step of this transformative journey. Let's take a moment to reflect on your own challenges. How often do you feel frustrated, anxious, or caught in a problem that seems too big to solve? It could be a difficult relationship, an unfulfilling job, or the constant worry about the future. These feelings of discomfort, dissatisfaction, and even struggle are part of being human. But what if these very struggles held the key to lasting change? In Buddhism, suffering is an integral part of life. But don't let that sound like a negative or hopeless statement. Let's pause and dig a little deeper. Suffering isn't just about major life events like illness or loss. It's about the smaller, everyday moments that wear us down. It's the constant craving for more success, more possessions, more approval. It's the frustration we feel when things don't go as planned. But why is suffering so central to the Buddhist path? It's because understanding suffering is the way to free ourselves from it. Think about your favorite shirt. It gets a hole in it. If you ignore it, the hole only gets bigger and more damage occurs. But if you understand why the hole is there, you can fix it, preventing further harm. In the same way, understanding the nature of suffering helps us heal our minds and hearts. The Buddhist teaching on suffering, or dukkha, isn't about avoiding pain or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about seeing suffering clearly, understanding it, and finding the path to liberation. So let's begin this journey of self-transformation together. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you chase after something, it always seems just out of reach? You crave comfort, success, recognition, control over your life. But when you don't get these things, you suffer. And even when you do get them, the satisfaction never lasts. It's like trying to catch a mirage in the desert. No matter how far you walk, the water always seems just ahead. Yet the closer you get, the farther it moves. That's what craving does to us. It keeps us in a cycle of endless longing and disappointment, leaving us feeling empty, even when we achieve what we desire. But here's the insight. Craving is the root cause of suffering, and the solution is within our grasp. The good news? Buddhism not only identifies the problem, it offers a path forward. This path is called the Noble Eightfold Path, and it's the foundation of Buddhist practice. It's a set of practical steps designed to change how we think, behave, and approach life. By following this path, we can break free from the cycle of craving and finally discover lasting peace. So how do we begin this journey? It all starts with awareness. Most of us go through life on autopilot, reacting to situations without ever really thinking about them. We're conditioned to believe that certain things, like a bigger house, a shiny new phone, or more money, will bring us happiness. But when we pause and reflect, we begin to notice something important. Our cravings, our desires, are not random. They are conditioned by our past experiences and societal expectations. Think about it. From a young age, we're taught that material things are the key to happiness. Yet have you ever stopped to consider how fleeting that happiness really is? No matter how much we accumulate, it never seems to be enough. The joy we feel from getting what we wanted is always short-lived, and soon enough, the desire for more returns. This is because we're attaching our happiness to things that can't provide lasting fulfillment. But what if we could change that? What if we could begin to detach our happiness from external circumstances? This doesn't mean we need to give up everything or live in deprivation. It simply means we start to understand that true happiness doesn't come from things. It comes from within. It's about learning who we are, what we need, and what we can let go of. When we learn to release our attachments, we open up space for something more powerful: freedom. True freedom isn't about having more. It's about needing less. It's about being content with what we have, without constantly chasing after more. This is a central idea in Buddhism. Happiness doesn't come from accumulating things. It comes from releasing our attachment to them. So how do we start letting go of these attachments? The first step is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment, without judgment. It's about becoming aware of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations as they arise. When we practice mindfulness, we start to notice the moments when we're grasping for things, when we're wishing for things to be different. At those moments, we can pause and ask ourselves, is this truly necessary? Does this desire bring me real happiness, or is it just a temporary distraction? In the beginning, this might feel uncomfortable. Our minds are so conditioned to chase after desires, it's hard to let go. But the more we practice, the easier it becomes. And when we do, we start to feel lighter. We don't have to carry the weight of constant wanting. We can simply be with what is. Another powerful tool to overcome suffering is acceptance of impermanence. Everything in life is constantly changing. Our bodies, our relationships, our jobs. Nothing stays the same forever. But so often we resist change. We want things to stay the way they are because we fear the unknown. Yet by accepting that change is inevitable, we can free ourselves from the fear of loss. When we embrace impermanence, we begin to live with more peace. We stop clinging to what we have, and instead we learn to appreciate it while it's here, and then let it go when the time comes. This doesn't mean we stop caring about the people or things in our lives. It simply means we stop seeing them as the source of our happiness. We can love fully, without attachment. This is deep freedom, freedom to experience life as it is, without the constant fear of change or loss. Ultimately, the root of self-improvement lies in understanding the nature of suffering and how it arises. It's not about trying to avoid pain or discomfort, but about seeing them clearly and transforming our relationship with them. Suffering doesn't need to be feared. It can be an opportunity to grow. By understanding its causes, we free ourselves from the cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. Through mindfulness and acceptance, we can create a life filled with peace, contentment, and true happiness. This is just the beginning of our journey. As we move forward in this series, we'll explore specific steps and practices that can help us transform our minds and lives. But for now, take a moment to reflect. What are the things in your life that you feel attached to? And what might happen if you began to let go? Can you notice where attachment is creating suffering in your life? Think about it. Are there things you're holding on to? Things that no longer serve you, but you just can't seem to let go of? The first step towards deeper self-understanding and peace is beginning to release those attachments. This isn't just about letting go of physical objects. It's about releasing the grip on situations, people, and even emotions that no longer align with who you are or who you're becoming. Life is in constant flux. People change, situations change. Even the way we feel changes from moment to moment. This is the truth of impermanence. Everything we experience, whether good or bad, will not stay the same forever. The world around us is always shifting, and so are we. In Buddhism, this concept of impermanence, or anicca, teaches us to embrace change rather than fear it. But why does this matter to you, right here and now? What does understand impermanence have to do with your daily struggles, your happiness, or the stress you carry? Let's break it down. When we cling too tightly to something, be it a job, a relationship, or a carefully planned future, we start to fear losing it. We become anxious about the future, frustrated with the present, and constantly holding on to what we can't control. This attachment becomes the very thing that holds us back from experiencing true peace. Think about a time when you were deeply attached to something. Maybe a relationship you wanted to last forever, or a dream you worked tirelessly toward. And then, it didn't turn out the way you expected. When it ended, did you feel like part of you was lost? That's the result of attachment. When we cling to something, we trap ourselves in the belief that it's the key to our happiness. We forget that happiness doesn't depend on what we have, but on how we approach life itself. The Buddha spoke about this very thing, how attachment causes suffering. He explained that we get stuck in an endless cycle of craving and needing, and when we don't get what we want, we feel frustrated and despairing. It's like grasping for a flower in a field, thinking it will bring us happiness, only to watch it wilt and fade. We're left with nothing but a sense of emptiness. But here's the truth. If we can truly understand impermanence, we can let go of our need to control and hold on. Instead of resisting change, we can embrace it. Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean, watching the waves come and go. At first, you might try to hold on to them, wishing they would stay as they are. But soon, you realize that they're always moving, always changing. They are part of the natural flow of life. The same is true for everything we experience. Relationships, jobs, emotions, everything will come and go. It's the natural rhythm of existence. Now, this doesn't mean we become detached in a cold or distant way. It's not about pushing people or things away because we're afraid to lose them. Instead, it's about accepting them as they are, appreciating the moment without clinging to it. When we understand that everything is in a constant state of change, we begin to appreciate the beauty of each experience without the need to hold on to it forever. This brings us to the concept of the middle way, a central idea in Buddhism. The middle way teaches us not to fall into extremes. It doesn't ask us to overattach to things, nor to push them away out of fear. It's about finding a balance, a place of peaceful acceptance, where we can experience life as it comes, knowing that change is part of the process. The key to embracing impermanence is awareness. When you become aware of the things you're attached to, you can begin to release them. It's like unclenching your fist and allowing the tension to ease. This doesn't mean you stop caring or loving. On the contrary, it allows you to love more deeply, without the fear of loss. It's about letting go of the need for control and trusting that life will unfold as it should. One simple practice to start embracing impermanence is to observe the changing nature of your own thoughts. One moment, you might feel anxious, and the next, calm. One moment, joyful, and the next, sad. If you observe closely, you'll see that emotions come and go, just like the weather. They're never permanent. By recognizing this, you can stop identifying with them so strongly and allow yourself to experience each emotion fully, without fear or resistance. When you realize that all emotions, thoughts, and experiences are temporary, it becomes easier to let them pass without letting them define you. Take this practice into your daily life. When you feel stressed or upset, remind yourself, this too shall pass. When you're enjoying a moment of happiness, remind yourself that it's precious because it's fleeting. This doesn't mean you shouldn't cherish it. In fact, the more you accept that each moment is temporary, the more you'll appreciate it for what it is. When you release your grip on the need for things to last forever, you open yourself up to fully experiencing the richness of the present moment. But remember, letting go of attachment doesn't mean you stop caring. On the contrary, it helps you care more deeply. When we let go of the expectation that things will never change, we start to live in harmony with life's natural rhythm. Imagine living fully in each moment, without the fear of loss, without clinging to what is fleeting. We can love without holding on, and work toward our goals knowing they, too, will evolve in ways we might not expect. And that's okay. Life, much like the story of a tree, offers us a perfect metaphor. Consider the tree. The tree grows strong, with deep roots anchoring it to the earth, yet it knows the seasons will change. In spring, it blossoms. In autumn, its leaves fall away. But the tree doesn't resist the natural cycle. It doesn't mourn the leaves that fall or cling to the blossoms that once were. Instead, it simply lives with the seasons, knowing that each stage has its beauty and purpose. In this way, we can learn to live with the cycles of our own lives. We can accept the changes and growth that come, letting go of what is no longer needed. Ultimately, embracing impermanence frees us from the burden of attachment. It helps us stop trying to hold on to things we can't control and allows us to enjoy life more deeply, precisely because we understand that life is precious, because it is fleeting. When we stop clinging, we stop suffering, and in doing so, we create space for true peace to grow within us. So how can we apply this wisdom to our lives right now? Start by asking yourself, what are you holding on to? Is it a relationship, a job, or an ideal that you feel you can't live without? Now consider this. These things may not stay the same forever. Instead of resisting the inevitable changes, allow yourself to let go of your attachment to them, not in a way that disconnects you, but in a way that frees you from the fear of losing them. Embrace the truth that everything is changing. In doing so, you'll find a deeper sense of peace in your life. By living with awareness of impermanence, you begin to see the world for what it truly is, constantly changing, constantly moving, always offering new opportunities for growth and transformation. Embrace it. Let go of the fear that holds you back. Through this process, you'll realize that transformation isn't something to strive for in the future. It's something you can experience in every moment, right now. The power of mindfulness. Developing awareness and clarity in our busy lives. In the midst of our busy lives, it's easy to get lost in the noise. We rush from one task to the next, our minds jumping from thought to thought. Before we know it, we're exhausted, confused, and disconnected from ourselves. We often act on autopilot, reacting to situations without truly understanding what's happening inside or around us. But what if there was a way to pause? What if we could step back from the chaos and truly see things as they are? This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in each moment, aware of what's happening right now, without judgment or distraction. It's about paying attention to our thoughts, emotions, and actions with the intention of understanding them better and choosing how to respond with clarity. Through mindfulness, we can quiet the noise of our minds, create space between stimulus and reaction, and begin to live with intention and purpose. Imagine this scenario. You're sitting at a table, and in front of you is a cup of tea. If you're like most people, you might drink that tea absent-mindedly, thinking about what you have to do next, or what happened earlier in the day. But mindfulness invites you to drink that tea as if it's the first time you've ever tasted it. You pay attention to the warmth of the cup, the steam rising from the tea, the delicate aroma, and the way the liquid feels as it touches your lips. You notice the sensations, the flavors, and the moment itself. This is mindfulness in action, being present, fully aware of the present moment, without rushing through it. It might seem simple, but the effects are profound. When we cultivate mindfulness, we begin to understand the workings of our own minds. We see the habits that drive our actions, the thoughts that influence our emotions, and the patterns that shape our lives. Through this awareness, we create the opportunity for real change. Instead of reacting to life's challenges in the same old ways, we can pause, reflect, and respond in a way that's more aligned with our values and goals. One key insight from Buddhism is this: Suffering arises when we are unaware of our thoughts and feelings. We react to life circumstances without truly understanding them, and as a result, we create more confusion and discomfort for ourselves. By practicing mindfulness, we begin to break free from this cycle. We learn to observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them, to notice our emotions without letting them control us, and most importantly, to be present without judgment in each and every moment. Mindfulness isn't about trying to change our thoughts or feelings. It's about observing them without attachment. In Buddhism, this is often referred to as the practice of right mindfulness, the ability to see things clearly without distortion and without the need to hold on to them. When we practice mindfulness, we can observe our thoughts as they arise without getting lost in them. We can acknowledge our feelings without letting them dictate our actions. We can experience life more fully without the need to escape or avoid. But let's be real. Mindfulness isn't always easy. Our minds are constantly busy, filled with distractions. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention, pulling us in many different directions. But here's the good news. Through consistent practice, we can train our minds to become more focused, more present, and more aware. Mindfulness is like any skill. It requires practice, patience, and persistence. Over time, it becomes easier to notice when we're getting lost in thought and gently guide ourselves back to the present moment. Buddhism teaches us that mindfulness isn't limited to just sitting in meditation or engaging in formal practices. It's about bringing mindfulness into every aspect of our lives. Whether we're eating, walking, working, or talking to someone, we can practice being fully present. The more we integrate mindfulness into our daily activities, the more we begin to understand ourselves and the world around us. We start to notice the small, often overlooked moments, the way sunlight filters through the trees, the sound of birds chirping in the morning, the feeling of the ground beneath our feet. These small moments of awareness help us reconnect with the present and cultivate a deeper sense of peace and gratitude. Mindfulness also teaches us to be compassionate toward ourselves. In our fast-paced, achievement-driven world, it's easy to become harsh or critical when we don't meet our expectations. But mindfulness invites us to be gentle with ourselves. It encourages us to accept ourselves as we are, without judgment. We may not be perfect, and that's okay. Through mindfulness, we learn to appreciate our strengths and weaknesses, our successes and failures, without getting caught up in them. We let go of the need to be anything other than what we are in the present moment. Mindfulness also helps us break free from the constant cycle of worry and anxiety. How often do we find ourselves dwelling on the past or worrying about the future? We replay old conversations in our minds or fear what might happen next. But mindfulness pulls us back into the present. It reminds us that the past is gone and the future is yet to come. The only time we truly have is right now. By focusing on the present moment, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of worry and find greater peace of mind. In Buddhism, mindfulness is closely linked to the concept of right concentration, the ability to focus our minds on one thing at a time without distraction. In today's world, we're constantly multitasking, jumping from one task to another, never fully focusing on any one thing. But mindfulness teaches us to slow down and focus on what truly matters. Whether it's a task at work, a conversation with a loved one, or a moment of quiet reflection, mindfulness helps us give our full attention to what's in front of us. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we begin to see the interconnectedness of all things. We realize that our thoughts, words, and actions are all connected, and that each one has an impact on the world around us. This understanding helps us live more consciously, making choices that align with our values and contribute to the well-being of others. When we are mindful, we become more compassionate, patient, and understanding, both with ourselves and with others. As we develop mindfulness, we also begin to experience greater clarity in our lives. We start to see things as they truly are, without the distortion of our fears, desires, or attachments. This clarity allows us to make wiser decisions, navigate challenges with greater ease, and find peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. Ultimately, mindfulness is a powerful tool for transformation. It helps us break free from the patterns of thought and behavior that keep us stuck. It helps us reconnect with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. And most importantly, it helps us live with greater peace, happiness, and wisdom. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we come to understand the true nature of reality, the impermanence of all things, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the potential for growth and change within us all. In the next part, we'll explore how mindfulness leads to self-discipline, another essential part of the path to transformation. But for now, remember that mindfulness is not a destination, it's a practice, something we cultivate each and every day. It's a powerful tool that can help us transform our lives, one moment at a time. Self-discipline, overcoming inner obstacles. Self-discipline can be a powerful tool for transformation. But for many, the idea of self-discipline might sound restrictive or burdensome. We might think of it as just another set of rules and limitations that take away our freedom. But in truth, self-discipline is the key to unlocking the freedom we truly seek. Without it, we stay trapped in cycles of self-doubt, impulsiveness, and regret. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a wild horse. This horse is strong, fast, and full of energy. But without control, it can easily run in any direction, throwing you off course. Left untrained, the wild horse might chase distractions, fears, or desires, pulling you farther away from your goals and deeper into confusion. Self-discipline is the process of taming this wild horse, guiding it gently toward your highest good. The teachings of Buddhism emphasized the importance of mental discipline. One core principle of Buddhist practice is the cultivation of mindfulness and control over the mind. The Buddha described the mind as the forerunner of all things, meaning that everything we experience begins in the mind. If our mind is scattered, impulsive, and undisciplined, the experiences we create will be chaotic and filled with unnecessary suffering. But when we train the mind to be focused, calm, and intentional, our actions naturally follow suit. As we develop self-discipline, we begin to shape a life of peace and clarity. One of the biggest obstacles that self-discipline helps us overcome is the habitual nature of our thoughts and behaviors. We all have habits, some positive, some negative, that govern the way we act, think, and feel every day. These habits are often the result of unconscious patterns formed over time, shaped by our reactions to external events or our desires for comfort. If we want to change our lives, we must first recognize these habits and make a conscious effort to break free from the cycle. Take a moment to think about your daily routine. What are the habits that influence your actions, your thoughts, and your emotions? Are there habits holding you back from reaching your true potential? Perhaps you find yourself reacting impulsively when faced with stress, or maybe procrastinating on important tasks. The good news? These habits, though automatic, are not set in stone. They can be changed through the power of self-discipline. Buddhist teachings offer practical guidance for developing self-discipline, and one of the most effective tools is meditation. Through meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts without judgment. This helps us detach from the endless stream of impulses that often distract us. Over time, meditation strengthens our ability to focus and choose our actions more intentionally. In meditation, we learn to sit with discomfort rather than immediately seek to avoid it. For example, when a distracting thought arises, instead of following it, we acknowledge it and let it go, returning our focus to the present moment. This act of returning again and again to our breath or point of focus builds discipline in the mind, teaching us that we don't have to react impulsively to every thought, feeling, or sensation. The same principle applies to our everyday actions. When we encounter situations that trigger old habits, whether it's stress, frustration, or temptation, self-discipline allows us to pause, step back, and choose a more mindful response. Instead of automatically reacting, we can act with intention and clarity, making choices that align with our values and long-term goals. But let's be clear, developing self-discipline is not about being perfect or harsh with ourselves. It's not about suppressing our desires or denying ourselves the things we enjoy. Rather, it's about being aware of our choices and understanding the consequences of those choices. Self-discipline is about striking a balance, learning to say no to short-term pleasures or distractions in order to create a more fulfilling and meaningful life in the long run. This idea is deeply rooted in Buddhist teachings. One of the most famous Buddhist concepts is the middle way, which refers to the path between extremes. The middle way teaches us to avoid both indulgence of our desires and the repression of them. Instead, it calls for moderation and mindful awareness in all things. In this sense, self-discipline is not about denying our natural impulses, but about finding a harmonious balance between our desires and our higher goals. A simple example of self-discipline in practice can be found in the way we eat. Many of us have a tendency to eat impulsively, driven by cravings, stress, or habit. But when we practice mindfulness in eating, we begin to observe our hunger and satiety signals more clearly. We become more aware of how food affects our bodies and minds, and we can make healthier choices that nourish us, rather than simply satisfying a fleeting desire. Mindful eating is a small but powerful example of how self-discipline can lead to a greater sense of well-being. Another example is in the realm of work or study. How often do we find ourselves procrastinating, putting off tasks that we know are important? Self-discipline helps us push through this resistance and take action, even when we don't feel like it. It's the ability to focus our attention on the task at hand and do what needs to be done without distraction or delay. This doesn't mean working endlessly without rest. Rather, it's about creating a balance between effort and relaxation, knowing when to push forward and when to step back and recharge. But what happens when we fail? When we lose our focus or slip back into old habits? The key is to practice compassion toward ourselves. Buddhist teachings remind us that we are all imperfect and that mistakes are part of the journey. The Buddha himself emphasized the importance of patience and perseverance. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up again and again and learning from our experiences. When we face setbacks, self-discipline allows us to stay committed to our path. knowing that transformation is a process, not an overnight change. Each step forward, no matter how small, is progress. When we fall short, we can gently guide ourselves back to our practice, rather than criticizing or judging ourselves harshly. This compassionate approach to self-discipline allows us to stay motivated and avoid the trap of discouragement. Ultimately, the practice of self-discipline is an expression of self-love. It's the willingness to do what's necessary to create the life we truly want, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. It's about choosing long-term growth over short-term gratification. It's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our minds and actions, and through this, we can shape our destiny. In the next part, we'll explore how the practice of compassion and kindness plays a vital role in self-discipline. Together, these qualities form a foundation for a balanced, peaceful life, helping us overcome the inner obstacles that keep us stuck and guiding us toward a path of true transformation. Compassion and kindness, the key to inner peace. Imagine waking up every day with a heart full of kindness, a mind clear of grudges, and a soul at peace. How would that feel? Imagine living in a world where you let go of all your resentments and instead embrace love, not just for others, but for yourself. Compassion and kindness are not just ideas. They are transformative forces that can change our lives in profound ways. In this section, we will explore how these two virtues are central to Buddhist teachings and why they are key to finding lasting peace and happiness. In Buddhism, compassion, known as karuna, is one of the most important qualities to cultivate. Compassion goes beyond simply feeling sorry for someone or having pity for their suffering. True compassion means wanting to alleviate that suffering, to bring peace, joy, and relief to others. It is an active quality. It asks, "How can I help?" Rather than simply acknowledging, "I see your pain." Compassion is a powerful energy that not only helps others but heals ourselves as well. You might wonder, how can I be kind when the world around me is filled with so much negativity and hardship? The answer lies in the simple understanding that the world is full of suffering, but that doesn't mean we must add to it. Every day, we encounter people facing struggles, whether it's a stranger on the street, our family members, or even ourselves. Each person has their own battles, invisible to the eye but very real. Buddhist teachings remind us that to develop compassion, we must first recognize that all beings, including ourselves, wish to be free from suffering and to find happiness. The Buddha taught that all living beings are interconnected, and this truth makes compassion essential. When we practice kindness and compassion, we are not only improving the lives of others, but also transforming our own hearts. When we extend compassion, we dissolve the walls of separation that we often build around ourselves, walls built from judgment, fear, and misunderstanding. These walls keep us isolated, but when we practice compassion, we break them down. We begin to see that we are not separate from others. We share the same human experience. The suffering of another is not something to ignore, but something to acknowledge and act upon, because in their suffering, we also see our own humanity. Now think about kindness. In Buddhism, kindness is the seed that sprouts into a compassionate life. Kindness begins with small, simple acts: a smile, a kind word, a helping hand, or the patience to listen. Too often we overlook these small moments, thinking they don't matter, but they do. Kindness is not about grand gestures. It's about being consistently gentle and understanding with ourselves and with others. It's about responding with warmth, not harshness. It's about being patient when someone is struggling, even if their struggle is something we cannot fully understand. It's about seeing others as they are, without judgment, and offering a space of kindness for them to be themselves. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget the power of kindness. We get caught up in our own concerns, our goals, frustrations, and fears, and forget to notice the struggles of those around us. But when we take a moment to step outside of our own world and truly see others, we open the door to compassion. And through compassion, we open the door to peace. It's like a ripple in a pond. The more kindness you give, the more it spreads, and the more peace you bring into your life and the lives of those around you. Buddhism teaches us that kindness and compassion should not just be directed at those we love or those who treat us well. In fact, the true test of compassion comes when we can extend kindness even to those who hurt us, those we don't understand, or those who challenge us. This is where true transformation happens. It's easy to be kind to someone who is kind to us. But can we be kind to someone who is rude or angry? Can we show compassion to those who have wronged us? This is where we find the deepest healing. When we respond with kindness to negativity, we break the cycle of anger and resentment. We no longer allow the actions of others to control our peace. Imagine a scenario where someone in your life has hurt you deeply. Perhaps they've spoken harsh words or caused you pain in some way. Now picture yourself responding not with anger, but with understanding. You might say to yourself, I don't know what struggles this person is going through. I don't know their pain, but I know that they too are suffering in some way. In that moment, you have chosen to break the cycle of harm. You've chosen kindness. You've chosen peace. And that choice begins to transform you, healing the wounds that anger and bitterness create. It's important to remember that practicing compassion and kindness doesn't mean allowing others to hurt us or take advantage of our generosity. In Buddhism, compassion is paired with wisdom. Compassion doesn't mean we sacrifice our well-being or ignore our own needs. It means we act with discernment, knowing when to show kindness and when to protect ourselves. Compassion is not weakness. It is strength. It takes courage to face the suffering of others and offer a hand. It takes courage to look beyond our own hurts and choose to heal rather than retaliate. The more we practice compassion, the more we develop strength in our hearts. The Buddha spoke about how compassion is a source of boundless energy, a limitless resource that grows as we cultivate it. The more we give, the more we receive. The more we open ourselves to the suffering of others, the more we open ourselves to love and joy. This doesn't mean we become martyrs or sacrifice our happiness. Rather, we expand our capacity to love, understand, and forgive. Kindness and compassion also help us develop a sense of interconnection with all beings. We begin to realize that we are not separate from others, that their joy and sorrow are intertwined with our own. When we practice compassion, we acknowledge that every living being deserves to be free from suffering. We are not just practicing kindness to feel good or to receive something in return. We are practicing kindness because we understand that in helping others, we are helping ourselves. When we act with compassion, we are planting seeds of peace that will grow in our hearts and in the hearts of others. So how do we begin? Start small. Start with a smile to a stranger, a kind word to a friend, or a moment of patience when someone is struggling. These small acts of kindness create ripples that transform our hearts and the world around us. In the face of frustration, These small acts of kindness may seem insignificant, but they have a profound impact. They form the foundation of a compassionate life. As we practice these small acts of kindness, we begin to notice the world around us changing. We begin to feel lighter, more peaceful, and more connected. Compassion becomes a natural part of who we are, and when we meet difficulty in our lives, we are better equipped to face it with a calm heart, knowing that kindness and compassion are the tools that will guide us through. In the end, compassion and kindness are not just for others, they are for us too. By cultivating these qualities, we are healing ourselves. We are learning to be gentle with our own hearts, to forgive ourselves, and to let go of the negativity that holds us back. We are discovering that inner peace doesn't come from changing the world around us. It comes from changing how we respond to the world. When we embrace compassion, we are taking the first step toward living a life of true freedom, happiness, and peace. And it all begins with kindness. The middle way, balancing extremes for a peaceful life. Life often feels like a tightrope walk, doesn't it? On one side, there's the pull of indulgence, where we give in to our desires, thinking they'll bring us happiness. On the other side, there's the extreme of denial, where we push ourselves too hard, trying to avoid anything pleasurable, believing that only strict discipline will lead to peace. Both of these extremes, however, lead us away from the balance that brings true contentment. The middle way, a core teaching of Buddhism, offers a path between these extremes, leading us to a balanced and peaceful life. The middle way doesn't mean living in a constant state of indecision or settling for mediocrity. It's about finding harmony, honoring both our physical and spiritual needs. It's about being neither too indulgent nor too harsh with ourselves. Instead, we aim for a balanced approach to all aspects of life: work, relationships, health, and even our inner peace. It's the art of knowing when to act and when to rest, when to give and when to let go. The middle way guides us to live with intention, being present in each moment, free from the influence of extremes. Buddhism teaches that the extremes of indulgence and asceticism, although seemingly opposite, are actually two sides of the same coin. Indulgence might look like excess, eating too much, overworking, or constantly seeking pleasure, but it leaves us feeling empty. We may think we're getting closer to happiness, but the satisfaction is fleeting. Asceticism, on the other hand, is the extreme of self-denial. Here we push ourselves beyond what is healthy, thinking that by depriving ourselves, we can achieve purity or enlightenment. But this path often leads to exhaustion, bitterness, and frustration. We end up hurting ourselves in the name of self-improvement. The middle way teaches that instead of swinging between indulgence and self-punishment, we can live in a way that brings balance. This means being aware of our needs and desires, but not being ruled by them. We can enjoy life's pleasures without letting them control us. We can work hard and strive for success without burning ourselves out. This balanced approach leads us to greater peace because we're no longer chasing something outside of ourselves, thinking it will make us happy. Instead, we're learning to find contentment in each moment. Whether it's a moment of joy or a moment of difficulty, let's consider a simple example to understand the middle way better. Imagine you're trying to build a healthy routine. If you push yourself too hard, saying, you must work out every day without fail, you might end up exhausted or injured. On the other hand, if you indulge in laziness and avoid exercise altogether, you'll miss out on the health benefits. The middle way would be about finding a balance, working out a few times a week in a way that's sustainable and enjoyable. You don't push too hard, but you also don't avoid taking care of your body. This approach is not only good for your physical health, but also for your mental well-being. In the same way, we can apply the middle way to our emotional and mental lives. Often we swing between extremes in how we handle stress or emotions. Sometimes we bottle everything up, refusing to express our feelings because we believe that's what it means to be strong. Other times, we might react impulsively, giving in to anger or frustration. Both extremes cause suffering. The middle way is about acknowledging our emotions, understanding them, and responding in a way that is thoughtful and balanced. It means not letting our emotions rule us, but also not suppressing them. Instead, we learn to express our feelings in healthy ways, without letting them dictate our actions. Another example is in our relationships. We might sometimes be overly accommodating, always giving in to others' demands and needs, hoping that will keep the peace. But this can lead to resentment as we ignore our own needs. On the other hand, we might become too self-centered, always thinking about our own wants and pushing others away. The middle way asks us to find a balance, learning to listen to others with compassion, but also knowing when to speak up for ourselves. It's about being generous but also setting healthy boundaries. In doing so, we build relationships that are respectful, fulfilling, and rooted in mutual understanding. The beauty of the middle way is that it doesn't ask us to renounce anything we love or desire. Rather, it encourages us to enjoy life in moderation, recognizing that nothing is permanent. Our attachment to anything, whether it's food, success, or even people, can lead to suffering. The middle way teaches us to appreciate each moment as it comes, finding balance and peace without clinging to anything too tightly. If we hold on too tightly, we lose the ability to enjoy life fully. By practicing the middle way, we learn to enjoy things without clinging to them. We find joy in the present moment without worrying about losing what we have. The middle way also teaches us not to be too rigid in our thinking. In our fast-paced, modern world, it's easy to fall into the trap of all-or-nothing thinking. We might believe that if we don't do something perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. But the middle way reminds us that life is not about perfection. It's about making progress, however small. It's about taking steps forward, even if those steps are imperfect. This mindset frees us from the pressure of achieving perfection and helps us embrace the journey, knowing that each step brings us closer to balance. In the practice of meditation, the middle way is a vital concept. Many people approach meditation with an intense, almost forceful desire for calm or enlightenment. This approach, however, can create more frustration. The middle way teaches us to approach meditation with patience, letting go of any expectations. We simply sit, breathe, and observe without judging ourselves for how well we meditate. This simple approach helps us cultivate a peaceful mind, free from the pressures of achieving something. It's not about the outcome, it's about the process. When we adopt the middle way, we also begin to let go of comparisons. It's easy to look at others and think they have it all together, especially in today's social media-driven world. But when we practice balance, we stop looking for validation in others. We stop measuring our success against theirs. Instead, we focus on our own journey, knowing that everyone's path is different. The middle way asks us to trust in our own process, understanding that we are exactly where we need to be. Another important aspect of the middle way is understanding the impermanence of life. We know that everything changes and nothing stays the same. The highs will fade and the lows will eventually pass. This understanding brings us peace because we don't get stuck in any one moment. When things are going well, we don't get attached to them, knowing they won't last forever. And when things are difficult, we don't despair because we understand that this too shall pass. Embracing the impermanence of life allows us to live more fully in each moment, appreciating the present without clinging to it. Living the middle way doesn't mean that life will always be easy. There will still be challenges, difficulties, and moments of uncertainty. But what it does offer is a deeper sense of balance, where we can navigate the ups and downs with grace. Instead of reacting impulsively, we learn to pause and respond thoughtfully. Instead of seeking extremes, we learn to live in the space between, finding peace in the balance. In conclusion, the middle way teaches us that the path to true happiness is not in avoiding life's pleasures or denying ourselves completely. It's about embracing life with wisdom, finding balance in every aspect, and letting go of extremes. By practicing the middle way, we create a life that is not only peaceful, but also meaningful, where we find joy in both simplicity and depth. So the next time you're faced with a decision, ask yourself, is this an extreme, or is it a balanced choice? The middle way invites you to live with intention in a way that honors both your human nature and your deeper spiritual aspirations. Breaking the cycle of negative karma. In life, it sometimes feels as though we are trapped in a cycle. We act in certain ways, only to see those same patterns replaying in our lives over and over again. Whether it's in relationships, work, or even the way we feel about ourselves, negative patterns can be difficult to break. Buddhism teaches us that this cycle is not a random occurrence. It is something that we create with our actions, thoughts, and intentions. But the good news is that we have the power to break free from it. In Buddhist teachings, this cycle is referred to as samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. It is often seen as a cycle of suffering, where we continue to live and repeat our actions based on the same old habits and desires. But samsara doesn't just refer to physical rebirth. It refers to the cycle of mental habits and emotional patterns that keep us stuck and suffering. The same negative thoughts, the same reactions, the same frustrations continue to repeat unless we break the cycle consciously. One of the key reasons for these repeated patterns is karma. Karma is the law of cause and effect. Everything we do, every action, every word, every thought, leaves an imprint on our lives. These imprints, or karmic seeds, grow and influence future experiences. If we act with kindness and clarity, positive karma will come back to us in various forms. But if we act with anger, jealousy, or selfishness, the seeds of negativity are planted, and we will face the consequences of those actions in the future. However, karma is not a system of punishment or reward. It is simply cause and effect. It's not that the universe is punishing you or rewarding you. Your actions and thoughts are creating the reality you experience. The good news is that the power to change our future lies in how we respond today. Every moment is a new opportunity to plant new seeds and break the cycle. Let's take a look at how this works. Imagine you have a habit of reacting with impatience when things don't go your way, when someone cuts you off in traffic, or when you're stuck waiting in line. That impatience builds over time, and it starts to affect your relationships and your peace of mind. The more you react negatively, the more that pattern becomes ingrained. This is a karmic pattern, one that you've created and reinforced with every reaction. But here's the turning point. You can choose a different path. Instead of reacting with impatience, you can pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that the situation doesn't have to control your peace. You can choose kindness over anger, patience over frustration. In that single moment of awareness, you begin to break the karmic cycle. This is how Buddhist teachings help us change the course of our lives. Buddhism doesn't ask us to deny or suppress our emotions, but it does teach us to be aware of them and not let them control us. When we recognize our habits and patterns, we have the power to change them. Awareness is the first step in breaking the cycle of negative karma. When you make the effort to act with mindfulness, you create new karmic seeds. These seeds are like new patterns of behavior, ones that reflect a more compassionate, aware, and balanced self. The more you nurture these positive patterns, the more they grow, and the more you start to experience positive changes in your life. The past no longer has to define your future. The teachings of karma are also deeply tied to the idea of intention in Buddhism. It's not just the action itself that matters, but the intention behind it. For example, you might give a gift to someone, but if your intention is to show love and kindness, the karma created by that action is very different than if your intention is to impress someone or seek something in return. It's the purity of your intention that creates the karmic seeds. This brings us to a crucial aspect of breaking the cycle: mindfulness. The more mindful you become of your actions and thoughts, the more control you have over your responses. Mindfulness isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about noticing when a negative thought or reaction arises and choosing to respond with awareness and intention. It's about planting seeds of peace, kindness, and understanding, even when life gets tough. One of the most transformative practices in Buddhism is meditation. Through meditation, we can begin to untangle the web of our thoughts and emotions. Meditation allows us to step back from the constant stream of thoughts and simply observe them. This practice helps us recognize the patterns that arise within us: anger, jealousy, fear, and with patience, learn to let go of them. It's through this process of self-reflection and awareness that we can begin to break free from the cycle of negative karma. Meditation also helps us develop compassion, a powerful antidote to negative karma. When we act with compassion, we're not just acting out of kindness to others, but we are also healing ourselves. Compassion is a powerful force that dissolves negative energy and creates positive karmic seeds. Whether it's compassion for someone else or compassion for ourselves, it shifts our perspective and helps us see beyond our habitual reactions. One of the most powerful ways to break the cycle of negative karma is through forgiveness. Holding on to anger or resentment from the past creates a heavy burden that we carry with us. It ties us to the past, preventing us from fully experiencing the present. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing hurtful behavior, but it means letting go of the emotional grip that those past actions have on you. It's an act of freedom, freedom from the cycle of suffering and negative karma. It's also important to understand that breaking the cycle of negative karma doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, one that requires patience and persistence. The key is to keep going, even when it feels difficult. Each small step, each moment of awareness, brings you closer to breaking free from the cycle. Every time you choose to act with mindfulness, kindness, and compassion, you are creating a new path. one that leads to peace and freedom. In conclusion, breaking the cycle of negative karma is about recognizing the patterns that bind us and making a conscious effort to change them. It's about cultivating awareness, developing compassion, and practicing mindfulness in every aspect of our lives. While the process may take time, the rewards are profound. A life of greater peace, clarity, and freedom from suffering. The power to break the cycle is in your hands, and with each step, you are creating a brighter future for yourself and those around you. The ongoing journey of self-improvement. As we come to the final part of this journey, let me remind you, this is not the end, but the beginning. We've covered a lot of ground, but the real transformation comes not from learning, but from practicing. We've talked about mindfulness, compassion, wisdom, discipline, and many other aspects of the path. Now it's time to take all that wisdom and put it into action. But before we jump into that, let me ask you one simple question. Are you ready to keep going? When you take the first step on the path to change, it might feel like a great leap. You might feel that the road ahead is long and difficult. But remember, every journey starts with just one small step, and that step can make all the difference. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that change should happen quickly or all at once. We want instant results, but true change, the kind that lasts, is like a plant growing slowly, its roots deepening, its branches reaching upwards, little by little. The teachings of Buddhism remind us that nothing in this world is permanent. Everything changes, and so do we. But change takes time. You might feel that after learning so much, you should have everything figured out. But the truth is, even the wisest of us are always learning, always growing, and always changing. The key is to remain patient with yourself, to trust that each step you take is part of your growth. Remember the garden we spoke about earlier? It's the same with your life. You may see areas of your life that feel messy or unkempt. But just like a gardener working steadily, you can tend to those areas bit by bit. There is no rush. The garden does not judge you for how long it takes to grow, and neither should you judge yourself. Each small effort contributes to a beautiful whole. I want you to think about your life as a continuous journey. The moment you think you are done growing, you've stopped. There's always room to improve, to learn, to become more present, and to let go of old habits that no longer serve you. The Buddha taught us that the path to freedom is endless. It's not a goal we reach and then stop. It's a lifelong practice of awareness, compassion, and wisdom. Each day offers new opportunities to become a better version of yourself. In every moment, you have a choice. You can choose to react with impatience, frustration, or anger, or you can choose to pause, to breathe, and to respond with mindfulness. Each of these choices shapes who you are. The more you practice, the more automatic these wise choices will become. It will no longer feel like a struggle. It will feel like second nature. You will begin to notice that the way you handle difficult situations starts to change. You'll feel less stressed, less anxious, and more at peace. This peace comes from understanding that you are not your thoughts or your emotions. You are the awareness that watches them. Just as clouds come and go in the sky, so do thoughts and feelings come and go in your mind. When you learn to observe without judgment, without attachment, you can find a place of calm amidst the storm. This is the true freedom that Buddhism points to. Freedom from the constant pull of desires, from the fear of change, and from the need for things to be different than they are. I encourage you to take the teachings we've discussed and apply them in your life. Don't wait for a perfect moment or a perfect day. start now. Begin with small steps. If you want to cultivate more mindfulness, start by paying attention to your breath as you go about your daily activities. If you want to practice more compassion, start by showing kindness to yourself and others, even in the small moments. If you want to develop wisdom, start by questioning your assumptions and beliefs and seeking deeper truths. There will be days when it feels like you're not making progress. There will be moments when you feel lost or uncertain. But remember, this is part of the process. Just as a river carves its path through the mountains, your path to self-improvement will shape itself, even when it feels slow. And in those moments of doubt, trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Every experience, every challenge, and every success are part of your journey. And always, always remember the core lesson of Buddhism. Suffering is not something to avoid, but something to understand. We suffer because we resist change. We hold on to things that are fleeting, and we expect life to be different from what it is. But when we accept that life is full of change, when we embrace the impermanence of all things, we are free. We are free from the fear of losing, from the anxiety of the future, and from the regret of the past. This is why the path of self-improvement is not just about doing more, but about being more. Being present, being aware, being compassionate. It's about transforming your relationship with yourself and the world around you. Every step you take on this path, no matter how small, brings you closer to the peace and happiness that are already within you. As we reach the end of this video, I want to leave you with this. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You are already whole. Your journey is not about becoming someone else. It's about uncovering who you truly are beneath all the layers of fear, doubt, and distraction. This is the real work. To peel away those layers and reveal the peace, wisdom, and love that reside in the heart of all beings. I know this might feel like a lot to take in, and that's okay. Don't worry if you don't have all the answers right now. The key is to keep going, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep growing. With each passing day, you will find yourself becoming more of who you are meant to be. The path to self-improvement is not about perfection. It's about progress. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the peace and happiness you deserve. Before I end, I want to thank you for being with me on this journey. I hope the wisdom shared here will inspire you to live with more mindfulness, compassion, and joy. If this video has helped you, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your support helps us continue bringing more valuable insights to help transform your life. Remember, the journey doesn't end here. It's just the beginning. Keep moving forward, and let the wisdom of these teachings guide you every step of the way.